Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. New for 2022. Well, it's something old made new. The Breitling Navitimer B01 Chronograph 43 with copper dial. The timepiece is 43 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel, 13.8 millimeters thick, 49 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The Navitimer, launched either in 1952 or 1954, depending on who you believe, celebrates an important anniversary this year. The timepiece, as you see it right here, a little bit of a nod to Breitling's history with the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. That's evident on the dial, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the fit and the feel. On my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see the watch wears well. Georges Kern said when he took over Breitling in 2017 that one of his goals was to create shorter lug spans across the wrist, so in any given case size, future watches would wear better than in the past, and that's what we have right here. The watch is not thin by any means, but it's no longer offensively thick. It doesn't feel like you're wearing a dumpster on your wrist. The timepiece is relatively short across the wrist at under 50 millimeters, so I feel like you could actually wear this on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. The timepiece is equipped with a substantial strap. This is something that was never wrong with Breitling. The company always seemed to give you more expensive, more substantial straps than the price point of any given watch implied. And here we have large rectangular scale alligator leather in black, semi-gloss with substantial bolstering to give it volume. We've got a contrasting stitch in aviator's fashion with a folded edge and calfskin on the bottom. You can see this is a brand new Breitling factory strap. Now, aviators watches typically feature cheaper calfskin with a contrasting stitch. The presence of alligator leather here speaks to upscale pretension and intent at Breitling. They want the Navitimer to be seen as a flagship, and they are equipping it appropriately. The watch includes a single fold deployant clasp in steel with twin trigger release. You can see externally it features both satin and polish, and internally quite a bit of original packaging adhesive. So this watch is remarkably fresh. The original owner appeared not to have enjoyed it much. That is to your advantage, as you will get it substantially intact right down to the stickers. The timepiece features handsome vintage-inspired lines with a thin mid-case and short cropped angular lugs distinctive of the Navitimers of the 50s and the 60s. You can see that there's a little bit of a bevel on the edge of the lug. They're squared off at the end, polished at their end and their top. The watch is satinated across its mid-case. There's vertical satination between the lugs, and we have vintage-appropriate crown and pump-style pushers. You'll note that the pushers are polished outboard and then satin finished around their edge. Excellent attention to detail. The slide rule, or I should say circular slide rule, logarithmic scale calculator bezel returns here. We'll talk a little bit about how to use that. So let's say I want to divide 20 by 4. So you have to keep your mental decimals in mind because it's not going to give you decimals. But I put the 20 on the outer scale over 40 on the inner scale, then I go check the little red index, and so say 20 divided by 4 is 5. So that's how that works. Now if I want to multiply, let's say I want to multiply 55 by 2. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 55 at the index, and then I'm going to find 2. And right over 2, I see the answer is 110. So it kind of works backwards when you're multiplying. All right, so that's how that works. It's fun, it's attractive, it's easy to learn, and you can use it to calculate tips at restaurants in a pinch. What else do we have? Well, this watch was originally billed when it launched as the first complete flight calculator, giving you everything you need to calculate rate of climb, ground speed, airspeed, fuel consumption, and more. As a result, that is ultimately the purpose of the bezel. Inboard, we have a chronograph and a lovely metallic sunburst copper dial base. Since 2018, Breitling has used tone-on-tone dials to signature the presence of an in-house movement. And that's exactly what we have right here. So we have caliber B01, which launched in 2009 on the Chronomat series, made by Breitling for Breitling. The dial features rhodium-plated steel hands and applique baton-style indices. There is lume, and we're going to see it now. and the dial has dished matte black registers. The movement features hacking seconds, so you can stop the movement to set it against a reference time. There is a quick set for the date. The watch features a vertical clutch and a column wheel in the chronograph, which means thanks to the column wheel, pusher feel is very crisp. You could see the column wheel, literally a wheel with columns. A traditional way of making chronographs, as Breitling would have in the first half of the 20th century when it was one of the world's foremost innovators in chronograph design. Now, a newer feature, the vertical clutch, means there's no play in the system, so you can leave the chronograph running full time with no additional wear and tear to the movement, and of course no additional wear and tear. That's one advantage, leave the chrono running full time, but also it starts without any jump or stagger. The start and stop and reset of a vertical clutch is seamless. What else do we have going on? We have AOPA wings, or at least unofficially. Whether you believe the Breitling Navitimer was first made in 1952, as Breitling claims, or 54, as some scholars claim, there seems to be no denying that in 1954, the Navitimer became the official watch of the American Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, and it was available for purchase by members through their trade publications. As a result, Breitling Navitimers would feature the AOPA wings and shield, and typically right across the little band on the shield you would see the layers AOPA. Those letters are not there now, but the logo is exactly the same. Turn it all over, you can see caliber B01. The case itself is 30 meters water resistant, so it's not a swimmable watch. Everything else, though, is modern tech and spec. It's an automatic winder with 70-hour power reserve, hacking seconds, a quick set date, vertical clutch, column wheel, 4 Hz beat rate, 47 joules, and 5 position adjustment with a COSC Swiss chronometer certification that attests the watch has gone through, or I should say the movement itself has gone through a 2-week battery, including 5 standard positions and several different temperatures. It has earned the right to call itself chronomètre in Switzerland. This is the Breitling Navitimer. New for 2022, or I should say something old made new for 2022, steel with copper dial.